Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans face C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., and the Houston Texans. It may be a pair of 0-3 teams in this one, but in the AFC South, there is no love lost. The Texans need a win. The Titans need a win for their rookie quarterback, and that is where we will start because people love to come up with labels, especially when they haven't even watched a whole lot of a certain team. When you look at Cam Ward, the first thing that I notice, the first word also that comes to mind is special and arm talent. I saw him play one time in person, Washington State and UCLA, a dominant Bruins pass rush. This guy has the ability to create when there is nothing there. And you know what's happening with the Tennessee offense right now? There's nothing there. Guys aren't separating. When they are separating, the ball's thrown accurately from Ward. They're not coming down with catches. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there is no pressure on the quarterback to speak from. That's what happens when you're a team that's picking first overall in the draft and you take a quarterback. You're not able to build pieces to improve parts of your team. Now to the side of the Houston Texans and why we have to feel positive about this matchup against the Tennessee Titans team is because of the trench play. Because of the guy I mentioned in the opener, Will Anderson Jr. turning into one of the premier defensive players in the AFC. Danielle Hunter, been fantastic. But your quarterback, C.J. Stroud, you look at what he's done through 3 weeks. 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, quarterback rating under 80. And why a lot of this is happening is because the offensive line has given up 8 sacks in 3 games. But really what I look at is he does miss Tank Dell. He misses him so much right now. They really tried to add those weapons in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They traded back with the New York Giants. They said, hey, you can have Jackson Dart. We're going to wind up taking these kids from Iowa State and add to our wide receiver core. It can absolutely still pan out. I was curious, though, about the pick of Jaden Higgins myself because he's so similar to Nico Collins, maybe a tad more fluid and faster than Nico. But Nico's clearly the number one. C.J. Stroud is so comfortable getting the football to them that if I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm doubling Nico Collins and make someone else beat us because they're not really beating people on the ground. This team really misses having Joe Mixon back there, a guy that's physical that can break tackles, but there's no number 2 wide receiver. C.J. Stroud doesn't have that second option when Nico's covered. A lot of the times he's still forcing the ball to Nico Collins, and I would too if I was the quarterback. When you've got a great weapon like that, sure, that's 6'5", 220, and makes these Herculean catches, but against good teams, that does not work. The matchup last week, it was obvious he's trying to force the ball to Nico. At the end of the game, you feel bad because Nico had played so well. The fumble, Texans are driving. The third down, they pick it up. They basically have the game in hand. First win of the season, getting on the board against the divisional opponent. The fumble, and now you're looking at 0-3 and beyond a must-win game that you just have to come up with against the Tennessee Titans. A team like Houston is supposed to win this game. Off of the 2 divisional round appearances, it's like this is the year we improve. You don't want to do the exact same thing or worse. You want to continue to improve when you're an athlete and get better. For the Tennessee Titans, it's a developing year. No one was thinking that they would compete. You just want to see Cam Ward stay healthy, show that he's the guy. But the Texans, without a Tank Dell, they're trying to find out if there's somebody that can rise to the occasion and be that player for him, and that has not happened yet through 3 weeks. Now, I do believe that Nico Collins can still have a large enough impact, that the defense is good enough that Houston can win this game, even if Stroud doesn't go off and he doesn't have a whole lot of time to throw. They don't run the ball, that the defense, simply enough, is probably not going to give up more than 13 points to the Tennessee Titan offense. All due respect to Cam and the guys that they have there. It's just Calvin Ridley. The guy's not playing up to the standard and what we thought he would coming into the season. Alec Manor made himself an NFL draft pick with that performance against Colorado on a late Saturday night a few years ago. The Stanford 29-point comeback. A lot of his 300 yards, couple touchdowns were on Travis Hunter. This guy is a weapon for Tennessee. They have a couple of weapons. It's just like that offensive line. Ward not having time to throw. it's going to take time. I do have faith that they can, especially with the Houston Texans being a much lower caliber of a team, especially as an offense. That's why I was similar to the Higgins move, that they kind of had that guy already to fill that role on offense, that with Laramie Tunsil leaving, that you're letting go of your left tackle already with an offensive line that has shown that it has struggled, that Stroud was not at all well protected last year. Everyone wants to talk about Caleb Williams getting sacked 58 times. CJ Stroud was sacked 52 times. I mean, arguably that's worse for a quarterback coming in after divisional round appearance for that team. That's why Houston lacked so much rhythm. They were setting themselves up so often. They had 4 3-and-outs last week against Jacksonville. What can you do as an offense when you're coming out? There's no run game. You're having to take a shot one-on-one. There's no separation except for Nico Collins, and obviously teams are rotating, doubling him, or they've got an underneath defender in a cloud, and then they've got a guy over the top limiting what you can do. I mean, it's very tough for Houston right now to establish something. Woody Marks is a bit of a spark in the backfield, but again, this is a 4th-round guy. USC, I've seen him play a number of times, very good football player. They're trying to get him going a little bit more, but it really comes down to that offensive line and the integrity, the pride that they have to show that they are a good unit. I want to see them lean a bit more on the run, take a bit more off of CJ Stroud. 38 attempts again, really trying to have him carry the team on the back, but it's just not happening. 2 interceptions last week and only 19 carries. They didn't run the ball horribly. I'm not asking for Nick Chubb to get 20 carries, but at least give Nick Chubb 14 carries and Woody Marks, allow that to establish a little bit more. It seems like Houston's almost more so trying to run to set up the pass when they should be using the pass as an extension of the run game. Okay, Jaden Higgins, 7 yards, 2nd and 3. That backs up them a little bit more. We can throw it again, or 2nd and 3. You can be flexible and run the football. A lot of times people are thinking, let's run the football. That'll have them have to really respect our run game and action on our play action fakes so that we have more opportunities to pass. No, really, it's more so you back up those defensive backs, you get those linebackers a little bit more on their heels so that they don't come forward. You're being aggressive with the attack, passing the ball to then allow yourself to run it, and then it starts working both ways where teams have to respect both of that. And I think that's what that the Houston Texans can do with it. I have a lot of faith that they're able to come out with the win in this game, get a bit more confidence, get this train headed in the right direction. Lord knows that they need to, because they have a looming road game against the Baltimore Ravens. That is I'm not trying to scare you Houston Texans fans, but I would really be wary, and you would love a great performance where you go out there and you show that there are positives. The Baltimore Ravens are 1-2, and they've got a game against the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs. It's incredible. 3 of the 4 teams that were in the divisional round last year, one of them 0-3 in Houston, and the Chiefs and the Ravens are both 1-2. Unbelievable. One of those teams will be 1-3 when that one is finished up. It's crazy what's happening in the AFC. Goes different. That's why you love the NFL so much. Why Blitz with Blender. I love making NFL content. I also make a lot of college football content too. So as far as a prediction for this game, I have the Texans winning it in a blowout. I just believe that this will be very similar to what Tennessee saw week 1, that Ward getting sacked a whole bunch of times, running for his life against Denver, that against Houston, this is a better defensive front, arguably just as good of a secondary and a defense overall than as Denver has. I see Houston really giving Cam Ward a tough day. The offensive line, they just won't have anything to go to. If I'm Houston, I stay aggressive, honestly. I just don't let Cam Ward sit back there. But again, with as good as their 4-man pass rush is, I would almost come out with that, see if you're getting pressure with 4. And then if you're not and you're D'Amico, it's like, all right, let's manufacture pressure on this guy. We'll adjust a little bit. Kind of similar to what the Minnesota Vikings did against Chicago. If you guys were watching that on Monday night, I love comparing different games and styles from coordinators and the flow of games, because they were getting no pressure on Caleb, and the whole second half it flipped. They're like, we're not getting pressure on him because we're only rushing 4. It's not working. Let's start sending backer blitzes. Let's start sending guys from the defensive back position, and then it happened. So I do think Houston will get pressure with 4. They will beat the Titans 31-14, get to 1-3 on the year. Not at all down on the Tennessee Titans overall. It's just they're working with a little bit less resources, than what Houston or other teams have. This thing is headed in the right direction, though. I am a massive Cam Ward believer, and you should believe that. So let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this game. Does Tennessee pull it out on the road? They get a massive win, and they basically stuff the Texans in an early grave for the season, or does Houston take care of business? I appreciate you so much for watching. If you have not already, please subscribe for more content in the future. If you can't tell already, football is my favorite thing to talk about. I do it every single day, and we're so fired up that football is back. As long as it's September, I can keep saying that football is back. Hits October, then it's in the meat and potatoes of the thing, and it's been back for what? We'll be in week 5 or week 4 at that point, so we'll be there. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.